So today I'm going to be exploring compassion, and compassion means to be together, compassion, to be together with the pathos, with the energy and motion, with what comes and goes, cycles, and I'm talking about regularity here. A gynecologist, I remember, would always ask me, what's regular for you with your period, with your cycle? And it's normal to ask that of Mother Nature, like what's regular for you in April weather? In the northern hemisphere, what's regular for you, group of people who all speak a certain language, and noticing it's all within us. It's the interpreter, and that there's that treasure of redefining what's regular. And we may have forgotten who we are, and kind of opinions become very valuable. They help us, okay, I am this, but there's a grace in having wisdom, which is to allow everyone's opinion to just be their opinion, and don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Means choose what resonates. If there's too much coming up, or everything feels triggering, there's a sense of being broken, and it's regular. When we break through these boundaries, we become whole. So being a friend to somebody is a great honor. It's a great responsibility. It's giving them our time and attention no matter who they are. It's the way a dog loves. To be a friend is to be a holy one, is to be a bodhisattva. If you're Buddhist, is to be a guru. If you're, a yogi, it's to be even a pastor, really, a rabbi, a tzaddik. It's to be whole, is to be holy, to be holy. So to be complete means we can abide in silence. We learn how to listen. We learn how to take the person in. And yet we're also having space for our own self. When we seek social support, it's like a feminine aspect of nurture me, hold me, see me, understand me, and I'm in distress. Support means I'm not okay. But some people are so used to asking for support every time every little thing goes wrong. They don't learn the skills of abiding in silence, of watching, of learning how to listen. And they lose the virtue. They lose the virtue of practice, of hard work, of that these holy people gain just to be able to be whole in this world. Is enough of a status that to be a free spirit is to not need to react to what others are saying and doing, and to be allowed that privacy. Boundaries in this light teach us curiosity and gratitude. It's not easy to be okay with silence, not speaking up. We might be so busy trying to convince everybody how precious and sacred we are, how sexy and desirable we are, but actually true power is not needing to convince anyone. It's being firm with who we are. The lines want to connect the dots, so one person to another, naturally, there's going to be a connection. And chakras are called these wheels, these energy centers. So my heart wants to connect with my throat. My voice wants to express what's in my heart. My eyes want to see. My eye center, my vision, my observer wants to see what's royal, what's the crown. We might also say identities. So Kabbalistically, we have mercy, we have rigidity, and these are necessary. So in having more or less of one or the other, we find that we're getting our shape up. The same way we might exercise the left side and the right side, we're getting our shape up to match. So if we are so busy giving mercy to everybody, compassion to everyone outside of us, we're not going to be speaking from that root. We're so busy looking for someone to give to. Our heart's not radiating love with whatever's in front of us. Another Kabbalistic or chakra way of how the lines want to connect the dots is the money centers and the root centers are very closely connected with the drives. So they want to connect the dots. We want to be connected to our resources, to our safety, and so we'll attach money to that and we'll attach our desires to it. But actually money in this feminine way, when we're in distress and we look to money, those are... It doesn't feel like we're treating it with honor and respect. Like, there's a lot of responsibility in being a friend, and if you want money to be your friend and take responsibility for you, are you really willing to give over your power? Or are you trying to control money? So safety too. Are you looking for safety to be your friend, or are you trying to control the safety? So there's this power struggle that compassion dissolves. And this is what we call a higher power most of the time. Something more compassionate than us. Something that is more feminine than us, even as women or men, it doesn't matter. Something that creates newness from a place of birth. Like, it could be anything, any baby. Could be any version of me. I was made to be as I am. I'm okay. Let me get to know myself. And then the destruction, which is making room for space. Even if it's destroying the intactness in order for something to grow. Like putting a seed underground destroys the uniform nature of the soil. So it makes space for something new. Sometimes you have to take away the old. The top of the soil could be very dry. Sometimes creation makes room for destruction, like the leaves themselves that fell, they got destroyed. They become part of the new layer that the earth can grow from. But on the other side of it, sometimes, you create too many pastimes, you actually destroy all of them. They say a jack of all trades, right, is a master of none. So this ability of holding compassion, of holding discernment, and even this other direction of, groundedness, our feet on the ground, there's a magnet. I mean, you can jump up, your feet are going to hit the ground again. You're not actually in control of whether you're attached to the earth. You are. You're not in control of whether or not you're going to be born from your mother. You already are, even if your mother's not alive. So kindness and patience is now being redefined as something that requires listening. Being nice is not kind. I've heard that so many times. But what does that mean? Nice is saying the right thing that will make somebody feel good. Kind is someone else's well-being in mind. We don't bring up the thing that we did for them when we're being kind, but we might bring up the thing that we did for them to get credit later or to make them guilt them into something if we're just being nice. So let's stop being nice and let's actually bring patience and take time to be there for the people and to also take time for ourselves. If we're not willing to see our own needs, we can't come to people and expect them to listen to us. We're giving off the energy that what we have to say doesn't matter and that we're not worth accepting because we're not speaking from the true place. If we are coming from too much privacy, too much effort, if like we're trying to hide everything and we want so much privacy, but at the same time we're trying too hard to be worthy, we're actually hiding the lack of feeling worthy. So if we don't feel worthy to accept ourselves, to say I'm feeling lonely, then we're going to come to somebody and lash out if they make us feel like we're not being understood. And then we're kind of turning that person into our mother. And if we're going to keep doing that, we're not going to be recognizing our own responsibility as a friend. And we're going to end up feeling small and try to put the other person down. So without compassion, we can't actually have a real friend. We don't have boundaries, which teach us to be grateful and curious. Like, oh, I can't take everything from this person. I'm actually going to appreciate their time and attention and their gifts. They have unique resources that are attractive to me, not just for what I could get out of it. And also it gives us a chance to hear no, because we're not walking around always thinking, something might go wrong. I have to be ready with people I could always talk to at any time. And maybe we tell people I'm always available, you could always reach out to me, but we're really not. So in embracing our humanity and saying I have limits, it's kind of this, it's now a tenderness. So the very strengths we think are strengths are often weaknesses, and the very weaknesses we think are strengths are really weaknesses. They're areas we're not growing. So I want to bring up now, to finish this video, with a bunch of areas that there's ability to work in paradox and take accountability for our growth, and it will infect in a good way, affect everything in our life. So first one is credit and benefit of the doubt. Nobody really gave me credit or benefit of the doubt, and I was guilty until proven innocent. So I struggle with giving people good intentions. I often, when I feel hurt, think that the other person was out to get me. And then I allow for that too. I allow people to project all over me. And so now that I no longer am comfortable with that, I like to start from giving everyone credit and benefit of the doubt. The next thing is, nobody really cared about my happiness. So I kind of had an agenda. I sort of felt like I had to do all this preparation to take care of myself, but actually learning to make myself happy is the same thing as like not everybody allowed me to belong, who I am and what makes me different. So I'm learning to let everybody belong as they are, even if it's not close up. Some people relate through opposition, like, you know, they steer into your eyes as they defy you and do exactly the opposite. They show you how much you matter, but you must take the role of the one who disapproves of them so they could assert themselves. So when I was in fear, I didn't feel like anybody was safe. So I'm learning how to take the time alone when I need, but also people kind of encouraged me the wrong way. So the ones who were supposed to give me guidance maybe weren't trustworthy. So learning to tell it like it is, like even when I'm feeling like you're not hearing me. I remember telling some doctors when I used to be on prescription pills, or, you know, my psychologists, various ones, kind of what they wanted to hear, but also like finally learning how to say, I don't feel heard. Could you please stop trying to solve the problem so quickly? I just need to get this out. And I spoke earlier about kindness is listening and observing. And we learn this skill from within ourselves to see this inner child. So, you know, recognizing that the more I like withheld, if I was stingy, it kind of turned into like people weren't there to give me what I needed. And I realized I was pretty stingy. I used to think if you say you're an empathic person, then the people who hurt you are narcissists automatically. And it's very easy like to point a finger and call someone that. But I realized an empathic person who expects everybody to share their values and accommodate them is being very narcissistic. People don't like to hear that, but running around to call everybody who doesn't do exactly what you say when they're giving you their time and attention, and it's greedy to ask these people to give you what they want for themselves. It's their lifetime. It's their awareness. They are not required to give it to you. They're not your mother, your father. If you make agreements with people who cannot meet your needs, it's a double standard. If you continue to invest in them only so that you could guilt them and manipulate them and make excuses for yourself that they let you down, you have a right to let them down. And that's the give and receive law. By giving, you know, giving, you trust, I trust I'm going to get. So giving people their power to make decisions for themselves and their choices. I realized I had to save so much energy to avoid disease and suffering. I was fighting so hard to live. And so I got very good at planning and preparing. And this is a strength, and I can use it to my advantage. I don't have to obsess and worry. I can actually create dreams and opportunities and put things on my calendar that I love. I was trained to see the bad, and that actually left me miserable. It wasn't nice to be in my own mind. And actually I felt pretty much a lot of despair. The smallest thing would happen and I would break down. I didn't feel like I had the support system. Even if I had people who really cared about me, it never felt like enough. And what really changed was developing a positive mindset and learning, like exactly as I'm saying now, how to see my strengths as weaknesses, how to let go of such black and white thinking. And this leaves me with my final point, which is I desperately needed someone to care. And so I'm learning how to care. I'm learning how to care even if I can't help. You know, yesterday a homeless man asked me for help, and I've done a lot of volunteer work in this area. I couldn't help him, and he was very pushy. And I felt so strongly I was disappointing somebody, and yet I was able to care for him, and I prayed for him. And I gave him some money, and I said, ask somebody to help you who's a little stronger than me. I can't do these things for you. It's not for me. And it was a big eye-opening experience. But this happens every day. We have to practice in all our affairs this truth of care. And this is what allows us to be compassionate. We actually care, even if we can't act on it. We can care and feel what it feels like to care and be unable to help someone. So I love you. Thank you for listening. And I hope that you feel stronger in being who you are, and feel more regular in your ups and downs of the cycle of life.